Welcome back to the AB Scale Project. I'm Krieger. This is Alpha Bravo, and today we're starting off with the Studio Series Bumblebee Soundwave, and he looks pretty cool. I mean, the bot mode is pretty good. We'll get into some of the other particulars in a minute, but the bot mode looks pretty good. This is our current Soundwave winner for IDW and G1, the Earthrise Soundwave, and you can see it's a little bit taller than the Siege scale for a Voyager, and they're totally different aesthetics, so it's not in the competition, so we'll go ahead and move him out of the way. Alright, but here we have the Studio Series Soundwave. Head sculpt looks really good, very screen accurate. Articulation wise, I mean, he has, all the movement you expect. He doesn't have anything nothing in the wrist. There is some limits in the legs. You got to flip up this big front crotch plate there to be able to get the movement out of him. But otherwise, pretty good. Got some, massive ankle tilt, but that's also for transformation. But otherwise, pretty neat. He does have the deployer gimmick. You can tell that's a lot more space than for a cassette, because you're going to fit a core class figure in there. So you're going to need all the space you can get. Now, major complaints about the bot mode. I think the head is just a little disproportionate. It looks a little big for the figure. And then these shoulders. I mean, a lot of this is in service to transformation, but I just don't like that how much movement are in them and all the extra flap. I mean, the shoulders are pretty much just all flap. But otherwise, it's a clean figure, not a lot of backpack. I don't like that you have to use this armature to get his over-the-shoulder cannon. There's no mount on top. But that's just kind of nitpicky compared to other details. Alright, let's go ahead and look at the vehicle mode. And here's the alt mode, as it were. Kind of a flying crab ship. I mean, yes. I mean, you can tell they put the emphasis in the robot mode with this figure. The alt mode's kind of lackluster, and you kind of see how it all folds up there. I guess that could be your, Art Deco stereo system, I guess. But not really a lot to talk about. The guns that come with him, his regular cannon, and his over-the-shoulder cannon, this actually folds up so that you can mount it on the side points of his arms there, so that you can, store the weapons in vehicle mode. Vehicle mode I use loosely. But you can see there's not a lot to it. Flying pincer pancake. That's about it. Alright, let's wrap this up. Alright, to wrap up the Studio Series Bumblebee Soundwave, I mean, the bot mode is really good. This is the first time that we've had a Soundwave in a long time that didn't have the eject finger out. But otherwise, the bot mode looks pretty good, pretty clean. The alt mode, they tried. But anyway, decent figure, worth owning, I think. And once we get all the other Bumblebee releases, I think they'll all look pretty good together. Finally, we're going to look at the Kingdom Blaster and Eject. And he looks really good. He came in the last wave of Voyagers for Kingdom, right before we're getting Legacy. And I think he looks really good. I mean, let's take a look at that head sculpt. Focus. Pretty good, very cartoony. I mean, articulation-wise, he's got all the arm movement you need. Nothing in the wrist, just for transformation. The legs are good. He can do his, karate kicks for kicking away bad cassettes. He's got the eject button underneath and the eject in his chest. But overall, he looks really good. I mean, I like the way they put him together. You can give him some jetpacks back there. Just really, really neat. Over here, we got our current winner, the Unique Toys Sound Mixer. And you tell they're very close, so this will be a pretty close to call. Let's look at the alt modes. And here we have the blasters in their stereo mode. Both of them look really good. I think the Kingdom actually pulls it off just a little bit better. And the tab ends on my sound mixer aren't as good as the new Kingdom blaster. Weapon storage, I mean, not as good with the Kingdom, but I think that kind of works against the sound mixer just because the sound mixer weapon storage is in the chest, and that's the only thing he can store in his chest, where Blaster can use any of the Siege compatible cassettes. And so I think this works functionally better. Appearance wise, I kind of like the Kingdom better. I think it just works. Let's wrap this up. So do we have a new IDW G1 blaster? I'm going to say yes. I mean, he looks a lot more cartoony. I think the proportions are a little bit better. My only complaint is I wish they did a lighter gray for the face, but otherwise looks good. I mean, scale-wise, I mean, he's supposed to be like a smidge smaller than Optimus Prime, which I think they're both within tolerance. So scale-wise, they both work. But I think aesthetically, I think the Kingdom just edges out the Unique Toys Sound Mixer. So our new winner for IDW G1 Blaster is the Kingdom Blaster. All right, let's look at Eject. Finally, and we mean it this time, finally, we're looking at Eject. All right, here we got the Kingdom Eject that comes with Blaster. He looks very tiny. He looks a lot like the original G1 cassette, so that's pretty good. He's mostly blue plastic with some little bits of hard gray plastic added in. The face sculpt, let's see if I can get it to focus on there. A lot like the original G1. So overall, very G1. I mean, he's got a little bit of articulation as much as his little body can squeak out. You know. But otherwise, not bad. And here's our current winner, the BotCon Eject. That's a recolor, slight remold of the Frumble tank mode. But let's go ahead and look at their alt modes and compare. So here we have the Ejects in their alt modes. The Kingdom is a cassette. Let's go focus on that. And we see it has the holes for the cassette, but it doesn't have the sticker markings like we're used to seeing to make it more convincing as a cassette. But, you know, it folds up, it fits inside Blaster's chest, so it does what it's supposed to do. Our current winner is a tank. So they have to be careful with, or you'll shoot the pile drivers out the back, but otherwise it's pretty much a tank. So I've disqualified others for not being a data storage device, and it may be the case here. Let's go ahead and get our final thoughts. So do we have a new IDW G1 Eject? I'm going to say yes. He didn't appear much in IDW, so G1's our primary factor. The Kingdom is definitely more G1 than the Frumble tank. And plus, I really don't like the Frumble tank mold just because the shoulders don't like to stay tabbed in because of the weights of the pile drivers on the back of the arms. You have to really do some convincing to keep them standing. So overall, I like the Kingdom better. It looks more G1, functions well with the Kingdom Blaster, and overall, I'm pretty happy with it for our new IDW G1 Eject. So here's our new winners, the Kingdom Blaster and Eject. So, thanks for joining us today on the AB Sculpt project. If there's a character you'd like to see, put your request in the comments below, although there aren't many left. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll see y'all later.